Hello, everyone. Hi. Welcome to episode 2 of Shojo's Bizarre Adventure, the Shojo podcast by otaku women for otaku women. Also for everyone else, too. It is for everyone as well. I am your host, Stella Luna, and I'm here with... Oh, wait. I didn't unmute you, apparently. Wait. There we go. And I'm here with...
Louder than you said. Hello, everyone.
I hit the wrong button, I guess. I don't know. I was trying to unmute you, and then that just didn't happen. But hi. Yeah, I'm excited for today's episode, too. We had a little bit of tech issues beforehand, as in Lauda doesn't have internet right now. So apologies for her being on her phone.
Yeah, my power went out just like 5 minutes before 3 o'clock. So, thanks to T-Mobile, not sponsored.
Yeah, not sponsored. Yeah, I was like, oh, that's happened to me before, actually. I've actually had the internet go out on me right before I was about to stream. And it's the worst feeling in the world because it's like, wow, I was ready for this. And then all of a sudden, the universe decided to be like, haha, no, you're not.
Yep. And I literally spent like a few hours trying to figure out the microphone issue, and then the internet went down.
Yeah, it didn't matter. In the end, it didn't even matter. But I'm really excited for today's episode. Finally, an actual topic than introducing ourselves like last week.
Yes.
This week.
This one.
Oh, go ahead.
This episode, we've been talking about this idea for a while.
Yeah. This episode, we're talking about the one, the only Tuxedo Mask. Yay! Claps. Because we got our thoughts. We got our thoughts because the internet tends to not like our man.
Mm-hmm. Especially TikTok.
Yeah, especially TikTok. The hate that I have seen for this man is unwarranted and not needed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because
completely agree.
Because okay, here's the thing with Tuxedo Mask is that everyone tends to just default on the 90s anime. Just the 90s anime. Which, by the way, if you didn't know, the 90s anime changed so much from the manga. Even down to like characters. Like characters and who they are and their personalities. I'm looking at you, right? Sailor Mars. You know?
Yep.
And Tuxedo Mask is no exception to this. He was changed outright.
I feel like he was changed the most. And another thing that people tend to forget, especially like newer fans, is that the 90s series, when it started, the manga was still ongoing.
Yes.
So they were stuck kind of waiting around for Naoko to like finish writing, but they didn't really wait around because, I mean, season 2 was completely made up for the anime while she was still writing.
The arc between like the Doomtree arc, I think is called. The Doomtree arc is completely made up. Like Alan and Anne are completely made up characters. I mean, for heaven's sakes, they just reused Alan's goddamn design for the movie.
Yep.
Like it's the same design. Like I remember being so confused because I was like, why is the same character here? Like he's got his teal hair, he's got the pink streak, he's got like the green tint skin, and he's got like the pointed ears, but he was a different character in the Sailor Moon R movie.
Like, I mean, this is going to be a whole other episode.
Yes.
Because we have our issues with the original 90s series, as nostalgic as it is. Like, oh my
Don't get
God.
me wrong, I do appreciate the old 90s anime.
Mm-hmm.
I do enjoy it. I do like it. But they've done so many characters dirty, and specifically Tuxedo Mask. One of my biggest things that I hate is the fact that they aged him up. And then everybody calls him a groomer. And I'm like, the boy was 16 in the original. He wasn't a college student. He He was 16. He was
Yep,
still baby.
he was a boy. Yeah. Like, he was a child.
He was, yeah, he was a child himself. And like, I don't understand why they aged him up. Like, I have no clue why they would do something like that, because it's like, I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. First of all, like, I understand from a young girl's point of view, having an older boyfriend is like, especially during that time, was like, ah, yes, an older boyfriend. We love that. We want someone older and mature and blah blah blah. Those are force-fed lies given to us as children. But you know what?
Mhm.
It's that's another topic for another time, right? So aging him up, like, probably that was a big reason why, is because it was just kind of a common thing to have, like, you wanted an older boyfriend, and so they made him older. And you know, because apparently 2 years is not enough. 2 years is not enough of an age
Uh-huh.
gap. We got to make it like 4 or 5. I don't know. I don't know. Actually, I don't know how old. I know he was college, but I don't know how, like, specifically how old he was in the 90s anime.
People keep saying that it was 18, but a lot of the characteristics were not they were not 18-year-old appropriate. Like, he had
No.
a motorcycle, he had like a luxury condo, like, he was a full-grown adult, and at least the way he was presented in the anime.
Yeah, at least, yeah.
Like, he was not acting like a young adult, he was acting like a grown adult.
Yes. And that was bothersome in a lot of ways. And the thing is back in the 90s, they also made him a complete a-hole, like a total asshole. Like, he was so mean to Usagi. And
For no reason
for
at
no
all.
reason, you know, like, yes, they had their like playful banter at the beginning of the show. You know, calls her bunhead, or you know, like odango, and or meatball head, as the
Meatball head.
90s anime dub called it, which is funny because I was talking to Jojo about this, and he was like, that's stupid, would they call her, oh, like, meatball head? And I was like, I don't know, probably because, like, odango, like, buns are not in the West, are not the same as what we see in Japan, so that's probably the translation just made more sense for the
Mhm.
meatball. But like, he was just such a jerk at all times. And I, like, the thing about Crystal and the manga is that you feel the love from Mamoru.
Mhm.
Like, you feel how
You
much
do.
he loves and he cares. Not to mention, they made him useless in the anime, in the 90s anime.
Completely useless. I mean, I'm sure even if you're not a Sailor Moon fan, you've seen the memes of Tuxedo Mask just throwing a rose and then just like that's
My
it.
work here is done. But
Yeah,
you
my work
didn't
here
do
is done.
anything.
But no, like, in the manga and in Crystal, he has actual powers. Like, real powers.
Yeah, he has actual powers. And they just made him useless for the anime because, like, all he does is come in and he throws a rose. And then you also had that really weird arc in, like, the filler arc and the Doomtree arc where he became, like, the Moonlight Knight, which is basically
Yes.
like, I didn't know this, but there's a Marvel character called the Moon Knight.
Yes, there
And
is.
oh my, because we were watching the show in a Discord server like the other night, like it was like a couple like months ago now, but
Uh-huh.
the fact that the guy, and now I didn't finish it, so I don't know anything, but the fact that the main guy has like multiple personalities and he just like doesn't remember him going into like the Moon Knight is just like what happened with Tuxedo Mask. Because like Mamoru doesn't remember the Moon Knight. He doesn't even know.
Yeah.
He has no idea about the Moon Knight. And then like, but he's also Tuxedo Mask, and I was like, what is happening here? Like, that made no sense to me at all. And it did not happen in the manga, this Moon Knight.
No, it didn't. I mean, the whole Doomtree arc, honestly, is like a fever dream. Like,
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do like the filler arc, and I think filler arcs can be fun, right?
mhm,
But like,
it's just, uh,
it's so funny. But anyways, they made him useless. They made him have no powers or anything. And in throughout the entire thing, right? It was always like Usagi like ultimately. But like when we look at like manga and Crystal, Tuxedo Mask has powers. And I remember when I was sitting down with JoJo for the first time watching Sailor Moon Crystal, and he did La Smoking Bomber for the first time, JoJo flipped out. Oh my god, he has powers! And I was like, yeah, he has
Yeah.
powers. Oh my god, because his knowledge is he doesn't do anything. Like he's powerless.
Yeah, I feel yep, that's, like, pretty much the whole internet just thinks he's powerless, so
Yeah, and like, of course, I guess we should have specified this episode for spoilers if you hadn't seen Sailor Moon for whatever reason. I literally told JoJo, I was like, "Don't listen to this because we're probably going to talk about spoilers, probably some stuff from the fifth arc, as well too. So don't
Mhm.
listen because he hasn't because I've been showing him Crystal and he doesn't know anything about Sailor Moon aside from like the basics, you know. Um,
Yeah.
we're now caught up for the movie, but yeah, when he first went into did his power of Le Smoking Bomber, he flipped out because like he does have power, and I think a lot of people ask like, why is there no Sailor Earth, right? Because like we have all these
Mhm.
other planets, we have Sailor Moon, but where's Sailor Earth? And the thing that I think people tend to not realize is that in Naoko's lore, that she wrote, that only people born female can be Sailor Senshi.
Yeah.
And so Mamoru being born male means that he could never be a Sailor Senshi. He could never do it. But that's why he has powers though. He just can't transform into a Sailor Senshi. But on top of that, you find out he also has the golden crystal, right? That
Yep.
he has his own crystal, the golden crystal, which is like the silver crystal essentially. And that we find that all in season arc 4, yeah, the dream arc.
Hardcore, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think it was such a disservice to him in the 90s anime to remove all of that for his character.
Yeah, and I've seen the thing with the 90s too, I've seen a lot of, like a lot of rumors being spread, because 'cause I've heard everything from, like, the producers had a stigma against Tuxedo Mask or
Mhm.
somebody in the director didn't like his character, like, I've just heard it all, but I've never seen anything official, but it's pretty clear that the people working behind the anime
Mhm.
just didn't really care to bring Naoko's, like, vision into fruition, like,
No.
completely, because they changed so much of it. It
No.
wasn't just Tuxedo Mask, which, I mean, to her, that's she basically created him as the ideal man.
Yes.
Like, you can really tell how much care she had for that character when you read the manga, from the way she illustrates him to his dialogue, like, he is such a caring, like, character and,
Mhm.
like, literally the ideal man.
Yeah.
So, to see the way he was presented in the 90s in comparison, it's a complete disservice.
Yeah, exactly. Like I've even heard the fact that and this is obviously like this is probably a rumor too because you know how rumors spread on TikTok. Anyone will see a comment and they're like, "Ah, it has to be true. That has to be true." I heard that the director wanted to kill off Tuxedo Mask because he didn't like him and that wanted like Usagi to end up with like a girl or something like that.
Mhm.
And that he went on to doing Revolutionary Girl Utena uh and took those ideas and made it and put it into that. So
Mm.
so that's what I heard. Obviously, always take everything with a grain of salt. I haven't looked into it, so I don't even know. So if you're gonna take this as fact, don't do that. Go look it up.
Don't do it.
I need to do it too because they did the same thing for Mori and Oron High School Host Club. Sorry, it makes me mad because someone will be like, "Did you know that Mori was supposed to end up with Haruhi and Oron High School Host Club?" And it's like, where did you hear that? Oh, she said it. Where?
Oh, it's like that one rumor that always spreads around Naoko's birthday. that she supposedly created Sailor Moon because she didn't have any friends, and it's been proven completely. It's like it's a lie. It's just made up
It's always the same
facts.
photo of her too.
It's always the same photo every single year for her birthday, or well, I feel like it's recirculates for her birthday and also the Sailor Moon anniversary.
Yep.
Same picture, same
Yep.
quote.
The other rumor too is that she's been learning how to replicate her husband's art style to
Oh, yeah.
finish Hunter x Hunter as well, which I'm like, I don't think that's true either.
No.
I mean, it'd be kind of
For
cute,
the
but also kind of sad at the same time.
Yeah, for Naoko, like, she can't catch a break from these fake fake quotes that people make up for her.
Yeah, these
Uh,
rumors. Cuz like I
mhm.
don't and that's the thing is like I'm like they've done the service to Naoko for like a whole slew of reasons, right? And like I still
Mhm.
think that Tuxedo Mask is like a big one. Just because like if she designed this character to be her perfect man, right? Which is kind of funny because she has a husband now and he's a manga artist as well too, and I just kind of find that really funny. Um that Tuxedo Mask is her ideal man, is like the perfect man in her eyes, right?
Mhm.
To see people completely dogpile on him and just rip him to shreds, it's just like wild. And then on top of that, like people shipping. Oh my god, this is gonna start. This is gonna be. You guys are gonna hate this, but I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. I
Say it.
hate the ship Seiya and Usagi. I don't like
I hate
it.
it too.
I
I
don't
don't
like
like
it.
it.
I don't because the reason that people ship it is because they don't like Mamoru in the 90s anime. It is the
Yep.
one of the only it's probably the sole reason people ship Seiya and Usagi. Because they're like,
Uh,
"Oh, he treated her so much better, blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "Read the
no.
manga. Read the manga."
Yes.
I'm like,
Yeah, they completely base it on the 90s anime and not the manga. Like, come on.
yeah, which I'm excited
Please.
for the movie and I will say like oh, I think I'm losing you. We're losing you. We're losing you. Mayday,
Uh,
mayday, mayday.
oh,
Oh no. Oh no,
wait.
robot. Robot.
Oh no, no. Tuxedo Mask, come save me.
Okay.
Tuxedo Mask. Can you
But
hear me?
yeah, I can hear you now. But
Okay.
but like the biggest problem like for me is like so I read the manga like a really long time ago and I haven't actually like reread it just because like I want to be like surprised about things and be like, "Oh yeah, that's right," when they happen, right? So I don't really remember um the fifth like arc of Sailor Moon, right? Very very
Okay,
well,
yeah.
right? But I do remember the 90s and because I have watched more recently like gone through clips of like the 90s anime. And one of the things that always bothered me about the ship is that when people were like, "Well, Seiya's better, Seiya's better, Seiya's better, being nicer, all this stuff." Seiya, I'm sorry, but pushes Usagi constantly into trying to like be with them essentially, like forgetting about Tuxedo Mask
Mhm.
and manipulating her, right?
Yeah, to me, it just comes off as emotional manipulation.
Yes.
Like, they knew exactly what the mental state of Usagi was and took advantage of it.
Hmm. Not to mention, it's just using Usagi because of their
Yep.
love for their princess
Mhm.
and using Usagi as a coping mechanism. And I'm like, that's just not okay. I'm like, it's just not okay. Like, and like we all know, Mamoru dies in the fifth arc. Like he's dead, right? And
Mhm.
that like at least in the 90s anime, Usagi didn't really know that he died, or if she did,
Yeah.
she literally mentally blocked it out. And then Seiya comes in and tries to basically replace him. And it's part of the reason I just don't like that ship is because of how poorly they treated Mamoru in the 90s anime.
Yeah.
And also, like, it bothers it bothers me. I'm trying not to curse because I don't want to make this explicit because like I'm trying really hard not to curse. But like
This topic makes us very heated,
it
as you
does.
can tell.
It bothers me also because I hate when I see like look, you can ship whatever you want. That's fine, right? Like if you like a ship, that's fine. What I don't like is when people go, it should have been canon. It should have been canon. It should have been canon.
Oh,
Because I'm like, if it was canon, then what was the point of Sailor Moon? What was the point of the entirety of the story up until that point?
Yep. It's.
They are
I'm literally face palming
star-crossed
right now.
lovers from a different time, reincarnated, oh fuck! My bad. Sorry, I knocked something over. I'll bleep that out. And okay, let me start over again. They are they're star-crossed lovers, reincarnated, found each other, and love each other, and the universe tries to pull them apart constantly. They love each other, and then to come in there and be like, actually, I think Seiya should have been canon with Usagi. What do you mean? What was the point then? There would be no point.
Yes. I agree with everything.
Like I say, you can ship whatever you want, okay? That's fine. It is okay. You could ship, if you ship Seiya and Usagi, that's fine. If you want to indulge in your fan art and your fan fictions and whatever, that's fine. That's okay. But like, the canon comments have to stop.
Yeah, I mean, Sailor Moon has been over for years now.
Yeah.
Seiya and Usagi will never be canon. And
stop using
end of
fetch. It'll
discussion.
never happen.
And end of discussion. It'll never happen. It has always been Usagi and Mamoru, Sailor Moon and Tuxedo Mask.
Yep.
Just accept it. Embrace it.
Accept the Carfax. Show me the Carfax.
Yes, exactly. Just accept it, and I don't know. It's just I feel like Naoko created such a beautiful love story between the two of them that I like you can't really root for anyone else but them. They're endgame. They were always endgame.
They were always going to be. I mean, like, there's no other way, right? Because everything else is just an obstacle. You know? And here's the thing. They wrote Mamoru so poorly that people want Usagi to end up with Prince Diamond.
Yeah. Okay, I recently made a video about this on TikTok. But yeah, the 90s version romanticized so many of their freaking villains to the point that you had Prince Diamond. People will romanticize that interaction. If you have watched Crystal or read the manga, he was a literal creep.
He was such a creep. He was actually a creep in the 90s too.
Yeah. He was also a creep, but people forget about it because they humanized them so much.
Look, okay, I okay, to an extent I can understand in Crystal because he's played by Miyano Mamoru, and you can't just hand me a character being voiced by Miyano Mamoru and expect me to hate him, okay? But no, I am joking. For the most part, I mean, like, I do love Miyano Mamoru, and literally this has happened to me in Demon Slayer with Doma as well, because he's voices him as well, and it's really hard for me to hate a character voiced by him. But that doesn't take away the fact that Diamond is really a creep, because he really is.
Like, I'm not saying just like, no, he's a creep.
No, he
forces it. He kidnaps Usagi, forces himself on him.
Yes.
Literally kisses her without her consent.
Yep.
And he's just so obsessed with her. Like, literal
he's
creep.
So obsessed with Neo Queen Serenity that he's willing to, I don't know, kidnap the child version of her. So put that down. I want you to really think about that, okay? What I just said. He was
kidnaps her,
so
undresses her,
he was yep.
dresses her up as Neo Queen Serenity while she's unconscious.
Yes, he was so obsessed with Neo Queen Serenity that he decided to kidnap the child version, the 14, 15-year-old version of her, and dress her up.
Yeah.
And kiss her.
People that ship them.
And people who ship them. What? You cannot tell. If you call Mamoru a creep and a weirdo and all that and a pedo, whatever, for him being older than Usagi, I don't want to hear anything from. It's so hard not to curse. I don't want to hear anything from you about Prince Diamond, because if you ship them, you are a hypocrite. You're a hypocrite. You are a hypocrite.
Pretty much. And I know some people might be like, no, like that can't be real. Like people still don't they don't ship them together. I literally, because I'm in a few of the Sailor Moon Facebook groups.
Yeah.
So they often do like all these polls and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, like last week, there was a poll about like who people prefer to ship Usagi with.
Yes.
And Prince Diamond was literally one of the options, and people were voting for him.
Of course they were.
Adult fans were voting for him.
It's because they don't think about they don't actually think about his age. Don't let that sink in.
Yeah. Let that sink in.
He's been waiting at the door for a while.
Uh-huh. So it's just
that's one of the I would say that's the worst ship for Usagi out of all of them.
Oh yeah, hands down, that one is the worst.
Like, look, like I understand some of the other ships, right? And I am a full believer that Usagi is a bicon, right? She is a bicon. So you know, her being shipped with women as well, totally valid and acceptable, right? But Diamond is the worst ship out of all of them, every single one of them. And like, look, if you like your problematic ships, whatever, right? But I just don't like seeing the hypocrisy is what I don't like seeing, right? I mean, to be fair, I just realized that hypocrisy, it's hypocritical. I just realized how hypocritical it was just right now when I was yelling about it. That was a recent thought in that moment. You literally saw or heard the cogs turning in my brain, because I didn't even think about that until just now. But that's going up on the TikTok. We're clipping that. We're putting that in on TikTok. Just you wait. It'll be a TikTok here soon. Because it's such a valid point. The other ship though that is for Usagi, I see a lot of is Uranus actually.
Yeah, I have seen that one.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense. Who doesn't like Uranus though?
Let's be, yeah. I mean, that one I'm not completely mad because it's Uranus.
Wait, let's talk about the weird kind of like shipping that was happening, the weird kind of dynamic that like Uranus, Neptune, Usagi, and Mamoru all had.
Oh yeah.
Like
in the 90s, that's right.
Yeah, in the 90s, yeah. Because like it was like Usagi and Uranus, and it was or Neptune or Michiru and Mamoru.
And Mamoru, yeah. Dude, I completely forgot about that. Just because that's not in the manga either.
Yeah, it's not in the manga. They created this really weird love square thing going on for no reason. Yeah,
because they paired the two brainy characters, Mamoru and Michiru. They both like classical music and they're smart and all that stuff. So they were trying to give them a romantic. I don't even know what they were trying to do, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't.
Like I can understand like Usagi and Uranus, because I mean they do have some like flirtatious interactions even in the manga and in Crystal.
I mean literally Uranus.
I mean they kiss.
Yeah, I was about to say they kiss. So,
but like Michiru and Mamoru, I don't know.
I was like, that's very strange. The other person that Mamoru had that was like flirting with him a lot, Ray, like Mars.
Yeah.
I mean, like the two most changed characters in the whole thing. Like Ray had a huge thing for Mamoru. You remember how
Yes.
boy crazy she was?
Oh yeah.
Oh my
They made
god.
her completely boy crazy in the 90s. Like it's it's insane seeing how I mean both of them were just portrayed so differently from what Naoko like wrote in the manga.
I'm gonna be real. I feel like that was a huge insult to Rei and her character in the
Oh
manga.
yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
I always, at least to me, I always read Rei as Ace, like being Ace, because she's never been interested in really anyone, right? Like, she showed
Mhm.
no interest in people in general, right? Like, she
Yeah.
loves Usagi, but I know a lot of people like to ship them, especially from the 90s anime. First of
Mhm.
all, if you hate Mamoru and you ship her with Rei, you're also a hypocrite. Like, Rei was so mean to Usagi.
Yes.
So I don't want to hear it.
Unnecessary.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. But like Ray to me is I headcanon as Ace, right? And so her being boy crazy was insane. And then the fact that like Usagi and Ray fought over Mamoru constantly, and then like in later
Mhm.
seasons they just kind of like forget that ever happened.
Oh yeah. It's like that yeah, that like that never happened at all.
Like it just
Like
never
like
happened.
Ray never dated Mamoru to begin with, but it just
I still remember the scene though when Mamoru was over at Ray's and he was using the bat, and Ray walks in on him and we see his little bare ass. You remember that?
yeah.
I was like, oh, that man got butt. Look at that. Look at that. It looks just like a Ken doll butt.
Honestly, the more we talk about the 90s anime, it just seems like a fever dream.
It does. It does. It doesn't seem real. It wasn't real. It
No.
was never real to begin with.
Like there was just so many random moments they created for like I don't know. I mean, there was also like that whole the amusement park date. He was on a
Yeah.
date with Ray, but then like just did he like ditch her or something?
Yeah, I don't understand. Like I just don't understand. It was weird because like they wanted to like add a weird love triangle for whatever reason, right? And
Mhm.
like the only reason that we have like the Seiya, Usagi, and Mamoru love triangle like in the manga is just because Mamoru literally dies. That's the only reason, and it creates something that like there. But in general, there's never been a love triangle between like with Mamoru and Usagi in the manga and Crystal. Like actually,
No.
like them is actually being together. There's no love triangle at all.
They
Also,
they tried to make a few love triangles. There was also, I mean, sh Usagi kinda has a crush on Motoki, the arcade guy,
that's
but
true.
they try to push it a little bit. Oh my god! Oh my god!
What?
Motoki's sister!
Yeah. Oh my
She was
god.
completely made up, and she went out with I mean, with Mamoru Chiba too.
Oh my god. Yeah, you're right. Oh my god.
I just
And that Motoki was like friends with
he was friends with Mamoru.
Mamoru, which it was like I don't think
Yeah.
they were friends in the manga. I don't even think
No.
they knew each other.
I think they just I don't know. I don't
Okay.
remember seeing any interactions, but yeah, Motoki's sister went out with I still remember her riding on the back of his motorcycle. I can't believe it. Oh my god, that's so random.
It was really
So
weird. It was like super super weird. What was okay, okay, I'm trying to remember his name, but continue talking. Let me see if I can look this up before I bring it up.
wait, whose name? Another
No,
character?
no, another character, but let me look this up. Let me look this up real quick, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Oh my god.
You take the floor.
Yeah, that was the whole arc when this was all made up. Oh my god. I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm having deja vu. Yeah, so in the 90s anime, they made a whole made up arc of Mamoru breaking up with Usagi, dumping her. very harshly too. Like homegirl went through like depression. She was crying. She was a mess. And then to find out that he did that on purpose. So, oh my God, it's just they really did him so dirty for no reason at all.
Oh, absolutely. I,
Like he, he was never mean. He was never this way. Also, I mean, I guess we could there's a whole Chibiusa thing too, but
oh,
we can
that was strange. I think about that. Even
uh,
I mean, okay, at least in Crystal and then the manga, like after we get past that arc, Chibiusa's no longer weird. Like she's
yeah,
no
yeah, she's
longer
no
weird.
longer weird. Yeah.
Yeah, but they
They
kept it
really
going in the in the 90s anime for whatever
they
reason.
m- they made it really weird in the 90s. Like it just kept going on and on even after too, which was weird.
No, it was really strange. Like it was so incredibly strange. What they oh, that was his name. Like but they kept it going. Like they just kept it going for so long and I'm like, "Can we just like stop this? Like can we stop that's her
Yeah.
future parents. Like shouldn't she be happy to be with her future parents?"
He was
And
such a he was so caring in the manga and in Crystal. Like he's actually a good father figure for I mean, let's take some time to like sit down and like think about what it was. It was a teenager who found out who met his future daughter. So he honestly did not have the headspace to be a mature father-like figure, but he was that. So
yeah.
yeah, they never really presented that in the 90s. Like I don't
No.
know.
Well, it just makes me like it just made me so uncomfortable. Like the whole thing just makes me so uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Um,
Did you find a character?
I did. Do you remember? Because like it's so strange to me because like I'm like why, Naoko, why didn't you do more with this character? Because I loved him. Uh, Ito Asanuma. Do you remember him?
Ah.
He's the one. He's the underclassman for Mamoru. He's the blonde one, the one who like really
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
likes Sailor Jupiter, likes Mako.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I remember him.
Yeah,
Yes,
because
yes,
like
yes,
I'm
yes.
like, why don't we do more with him? They had such a cute dynamic.
I
I'm
don't
sorry. Like he was in what the second arc, and then he like just disappears.
yeah.
He just goodbye.
Yeah.
Because like there
Oh
was
my God.
that whole scene where Mako like kisses him on the forehead, and I thought that shit was
Mhm.
like the cutest thing.
Yeah, that was a cute interaction. I don't know. I mean, there's just so many things that just don't make sense.
Yeah.
Especially now that we're talking about it, I'm just like,
Yeah, because like I just remember I was like, "Oh, I ship that really hard." And then he never comes back because I'm like he's like, he's like shorter than Mako and I really enjoy like the dynamic of like the tall girl and short boy, like lovely complex.
Mhm.
So like I was like, "Yes, give me more of this." And then we never got more of it. And I was like, "Okay, that's fine.
No.
It's fine." Okay, here is another ship that Mamoru I'm not like really a ship. I don't think really people ship them too much. But a weird interaction that was in the 90s anime was the whole like Mamoru and Fisheye. You remember?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like first of all, I that's something I do like about the 90s anime. I like that we had a
Uh-huh.
little bit more fleshed out villain characters, especially the grunts, right?
Uh-huh.
So like
Yeah.
seeing like Fisheye, Tiger Eye, and Hawkeye have like actual characters that didn't just die within like a few chapters. I do
Mhm.
really like that. I really did like that. But there was like Fisheye had a huge thing for Mamoru. Huge.
Yes.
like was so into him. To the point I think Usagi got jealous.
Yeah, she did. Uh-huh.
I'm trying to look, there's
Even
200 episodes,
even
hard to remember everything.
even Chibiusa was just kind of like, wait,
You know?
like what's going on? Oh my God. Yeah, the 90s series did really they try to force all these like love triangles and just romantic tension when there was none. Like
We couldn't
literally
have a story where it was just a guy and a girl and they're really sweet to each other. We got to spice it up more. We got to make it spicy, I guess. Like I think that's what I love about Usagi and Mamoru is that
uh
they are there for each other. They're supportive of each other. They are
mhm.
encouraging. They're really loving. And I think we really don't see a lot of that in a lot of anime and manga. Like
Yeah, we don't.
we don't see like the good communication, the the really like loving tenderness towards each other. And like the other thing that like I really love about their dynamic and is that Mamoru and Usagi, have implied, you know, mishmash, in the manga
Mhm.
and going to be,
Yes.
in Crystal and all that stuff. And they have like that intimacy and like while we don't see it, right? Like we don't see it.
Yeah. We never see any of that
We
in
never
the
see
manga
any of
nor in
that.
Crystal.
Like it's handled so maturely. And this is what I like about a lot of shojo and josei manga is that when
Mhm.
it comes to having really intimate moments with each other, whether you actually see it or not, it's always handled in a really more mature way. It's never like, oh, look at her hoo-has, look at them go.
Yeah.
Right. It's always like it's about the love and support and that they have for each other. And the
Mhm.
other thing is that I saw someone talk about this a while ago because they were doing kind of like a Sailor Moon analysis, and they talked about how Usagi is such an important character to a lot of women
Mhm.
because of the fact that Usagi is seen as really powerful, very pure person. But in the manga, she still has intercourse and is still seen as a powerful, pure person. That her having intimate moments with Mamoru doesn't make her dirty, you know?
Yes.
And I
Good point.
think
Yeah.
that's really important. I remember people were getting upset about using Usagi and Sailor Moon as a way to promote having safe intercourse, right? They like had
Mhm.
like the condoms, Sailor Moon condoms. And that was a whole campaign in Japan to help like
Mhm.
to help like decrease like STDs and like, all of that stuff, right? And I saw people being really upset about like, oh, she's 14, she's a child, she's all these things, and I'm like, do you not know what Sailor Moon is? Like, you've clearly never actually seen Sailor Moon because the point of Sailor Moon is to give empowerment to girls and even grow up into women, right? In
Mhm.
themselves and sexuality and like who they are, that you can be somebody who is kind-hearted and a very pure person, but still like love and still like be able to, you know, have intercourse and all that stuff and still be all of those things. Because we see, I feel like a lot of the world, we see it as like dirty, right? It's like, it's a dirty thing
Yeah.
to do.
Especially in the 90s. I mean,
Yes.
the 90s, I mean, virginity and purity was just
Hmm.
especially I mean, I went we talked about this in the first episode. I went to a Catholic school, so,
Yeah.
those 2 things were just completely frowned upon.
Yeah.
So, getting to see an example of, a young woman
Hmm.
being in a very loving, trusting, romantic relationship where it's completely consensual, both parties,
Yes.
and it wasn't looked down upon,
No.
like, it's it really does change your perspective on on womanhood and relationships as a young child. So it was a um, really good example for girls our age
Yeah.
growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in I mean, at the time, there really wasn't anything like that, at
No.
least not in mainstream media.
Nope. Uh, Long story short, Mamoru is the bare minimum. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
He
It
is the bare minimum.
Yeah.
No, he's not the. Sorry, he's not the bare minimum. He is the bar.
Yes. I completely
He's the
agree.
bar, not the bare
He
minimum.
he did set the bar pretty damn high, I would
Yeah,
say.
he said it. He said it
But
so incredibly high.
but it's just like, I mean, Naoko did really create the ideal man, just someone who is kind, respectful, loving, but will also give you your space to grow up and, be independent. But then when you're ready to come back, he's there to welcome you with open arms.
Yeah.
He's just always there. So he doesn't deserve the slander
No,
whatsoever.
he's never deserved the slander. And I
Mm-mm.
just want because the reason people don't want to give Crystal a chance is because it's not the 90s anime and it's not their nostalgia, right? And
Mhm,
that's I think this is like a huge thing that bothers me about Sailor Moon fans specifically. I'm
mhm,
sorry, you guys need to take off the nostalgia glasses. You need to take them off. You need to take off those rose tinted glasses because Sailor Moon, the original 90s anime, is not very good in a lot of ways. And
mm-mm.
and it had so much like a lot of what you loved about it is that you loved it being basically a slice of life with a monster of the day theme, right?
Yes.
With like superhero girls, right? But that's not what Sailor Moon is and has never been, right?
Mhm.
Um it's so funny because like uh I'm gonna bring this up because I showed Lauda the other day this comment that I saw, and I will. Oh, I don't want to pull it up because you guys will see the usernames. I'll just read it out loud, because you guys you're listening anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So somebody had commented. This is like their first comment. It's the reply to this comment that really gets my blood boiling. Is people out here forgetting that the English dub is the reason Takeuchi revoked US distribution rights for years. Not the voice actors' faults though. And then somebody had the audacity to respond with, if J.K. Rowling has taught us anything, creators of franchises can be wrong sometimes. I
Mhm.
I can't with this comment. I can't with this comment. I just can't. This is the most absurd comment I've ever heard because they did not just compare Naoko
No, so
Takeuchi to J.K.
freaking yeah.
Rowling. What?
Oh my god. Yeah, yeah.
Oh my god. I that made me so mad because you're telling me because like you as a fan, you either like it or you don't because the version that you know, the 90s anime is made
Mhm.
by a man.
Yeah.
It's made by him. So you're telling me the thing that's made by a man and clearly made by a man because there are so many things throughout it that I'm like, yeah, that was made by a man. That was made by a
Oh,
man,
yeah.
right? Is
Absolutely. It's so
better
obvious.
is better than what Naoko Takeuchi, a woman, it's better. It's better than what she did.
No.
I'm like that.
Mm,
I know that comment's talking about the English dub, which also is just asinine because the English dub,
oh, yeah.
which we'll get into like a subject another day because I have so many thoughts about the English dub. I'm just gonna say right here, the English dub is bad. It's really bad from a technical standpoint. It's horrid. It's so bad.
Mhm.
But that's for
And
another
we're
day.
talking about the dig dub
The deep
from the
dub, yeah,
90s.
not the
Yeah.
Viz dub. Actually, the Viz, I enjoy the Viz dub.
I like the Viz dub too.
Yeah, I like the Viz dub too. I but people are so stuck in the nostalgia so hard that they don't even want to give Crystal a chance. Like I know season 1 and 2 are rough because pacing is a little weird and
Mhm.
the art style and animation sucks, right? Because that's Toei. Toei just did not give a flying about what was happening about Sailor Moon. You like my little sound effect there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it took me off guard. I was like, "Wait, when did we get that?"
Sorry, it's part of my audio setup. But they didn't care. They like wait, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Toei doesn't care.
Oh,
Toei doesn't
so
care.
yeah, no one doesn't care.
Yeah, because they know
Mhm.
that Sailor Moon makes them money, kind of. Like, yes, it does. Like, because, like, how would it not make them money? Because there's merch coming out for Sailor Moon all the time, and it's been 30
Mhm.
years. So you cannot tell me it doesn't make enough money. They just didn't care, right? And that's the thing,
Yep.
is there's so much sexism and misogyny within anime that, like, they don't even want to give Sailor Moon a fair shot. Right now Sailor Moon, like season 3 and the movies are fantastic, right? But that
Mhm.
first 2 seasons really set a precedent for a lot of people to just not give the manga or Crystal a chance.
Yes, agreed.
And they don't
Completely
like
agree.
how fast paced it is. And I'm gonna be real. Any first season of anything is going to not be the best of any of like the rest of the seasons. Unless we're
Uh-huh.
talking you know, like from Netflix, like the show You, then that's a little different. But like most of
Yes.
the time, like because it's set up. Because the first season of Sailor Moon is the first arc is all set up, right? Introducing us to
Uh-huh.
our
Yeah.
characters, introducing us to villains, introducing us to how the powers work, right? The backstory of like Usagi and Mamoru. And no one wants to give it a shot. Like nobody wants to give it a shot because they didn't like the animation. And look, I think Sailor Moon Crystal season 1 and 2, the art style, which by the way, there's a difference between the art style and the animation, by the way. The art
Mhm.
style I really didn't have that much of a problem with. It was the animation I did because there were some really
Yeah.
funky shots and I don't under because they literally pushed
Yeah.
that anime back for like I think 4 years. And
There was a lot of difficulties with Crystal.
yes, there was a lot of
Mhm.
difficulties with Crystal. But people don't want to give it a shot. They don't even want to give the manga a shot because I'm like, if you want something that's like you like they just want like a slice of life of like girls being girls and all that stuff, right? And there's not really a lot of time for slice of life in the manga. It is very
Yeah.
like it's the villain, we got to go, like this is the fight we're doing, right? Like it's very much that. And like, did Crystal like season 1 things get changed? Yeah. The
Mhm.
Shiteno, they changed the Shiteno some Shiteno stuff. They also changed. I also didn't like that they changed that Usagi was the one who went to go stab Beryl instead of it being Venus. Because it should have been
Yeah.
Venus who took the sword and stabbed her. Uh, because like that's the thing is like they also in the '90s anime made Sailor Moon the leader. She's not the leader. Venus is the
No.
leader. Because the girls are
Yep.
supposed to protect Usagi, the the princess, you know.
Mhm.
And so it doesn't really like they changed that. Um we're getting off topic because we're talking about Mamoru. We're supposed to be
Yep.
talking about Mamoru. It's okay. That's
I mean, we can do this on
yeah,
another episode because there's just as we alluded in the beginning of the episode, the '90s series, as much as I still enjoy it, like
I do.
I love rewatching it, it changed so much of the original source to the point that they're just two completely different Sailor Moons.
Yes.
Like Crystal and the manga can be one. I mean, Crystal is very, very close to the manga, so they
Yes.
can be like one Sailor Moon story, but the '90s is a completely different Sailor Moon story.
It is.
It
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 is.
has it's almost like, they took inspiration from Naoko and then just
Did their own
drove
thing.
yeah, they drove off a cliff
Like
with some of the things.
I love Tuxedo Mask and I will literally fight for him till the day I die because he is like literally the best. I mean,
Yes.
you're
I mean, I bought a freaking $400 statue of him. I adore Tuxedo
well,
Mask.
not to mention you made a TikTok where you were doing
Oh,
like
yes!
you were doing like it's the head thing where like, you know, it's just like this character or this character. And Laura got Tuxedo Mask, and of course it's gonna be Tuxedo Mask, Tuxedo Mask, Tuxedo Mask. But then you passed Zoro,
I
and
passed
then
Zoro,
for
and
Tuxedo
people
Mask.
went wild in the comments. Like, it's still one of my most viral videos because people got so heated that I passed Zoro from One Piece. I literally mentioned it in the video. I'm like, well, it's gonna be Tuxedo Mask over everyone. Like, there's no competition.
Well,
So
here's
kept
the thing.
selecting.
Okay, my hot take. I don't think Zoro's that hot.
I
I'm
don't think
sorry.
so either.
I'm sorry. I
I'm
think he's the best looking of the characters, like of the male characters in his own respective series. But I'm gonna be
uh-huh.
real. Zoro would not even give. He would not look in your direction. All right. Tuxedo Mask would treat you like a queen. He would do
Oh
all
yeah.
everything for you, and Zoro would be like carry my swords. Not maybe not. He might not even have you carry his swords because his swords are more important to him than you.
Yep.
Which
Isn't that how you found me?
I think so.
Was it?
Actually, I think that's the first video I ever saw of yours, and then I started getting your videos up on my For You page all the time, and I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna follow this person because I'm like, you know what, I think they're cool and I like their takes, so I'm going to follow. That's how it is with a lot of shoujo creators because I'm just like, because like here's the thing, I know my own content is not very like is very different than what we're even doing here, right? But that's why I
Mhm.
created this is because I wanted this space and I wanted to do this, right? But like you girls like shojo. Like I'm a big shojo fan and I don't really like shonen very much. Like I just like some shonen I like. Like I like
Mhm.
Demon Slayer and Haikyuu and Magi and
Yes.
but like I don't know. The men are just I like the men from shojo so much more. I'm
And that can
sorry.
be a conversation for another episode because
Oh,
there's just so many good examples of men in shoujo.
oh my
There's
god.
bad there's bad examples too,
Yes.
but
Like 90s
there's a lot of great
anime
ones.
Mamoru.
Yes.
Yes,
No,
he's
no, no,
he's
not him. Not him.
he's or sorry, excuse me. Darien.
Oh, yeah. Darian.
Darian. Darian.
Uh,
I don't really like the name Darian because of that. I don't. I feel like Darian is such a pompous name.
I mean, they did make him a very pompous character,
It's true.
so it
I'm probably influenced by the fact that his name is Darian, and so I don't.
Darian.
Therefore, I don't like the name Darian now because it just screams of I'm a pompous rich kid.
And he was exactly that, a pompous rich kid
He was a
with a luxury condo.
pompous
He had
rich
a
kid.
he also had a convertible too.
That's right, because he could drive. And
Yeah, he
I'm
could
like,
drive.
Manga and Crystal Mamadou takes the bus.
Yes, he takes public transportation, okay?
Yes.
Not his convertible.
Also he was very cute in his little uniform. I thought he was very cute when I was younger. I was like, oh, he's so cute in the uniform he wears.
Yeah, I mean, he's such an adorable, like, teenage boy in the 90s, not the
Yes.
90s, in the manga and Crystal.
Yes.
He had his little glasses, like, he
And
was
then he
so
grows
precious.
up to be a very attractive man.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
which I
mean,
mean, to be
Naoko
fair, he doesn't look that much different.
no, appearance-wise, they look similar,
Appearance wise,
but
yeah.
Naoko's illustrations of him, they're just so beautiful.
Yes, they're so beautiful. Well, and I mean, I know this is an episode for another time too. Just
Mhm.
talking about like, cause like I understand, okay, Mamadou originally in the manga. Well, okay, I guess like by the end of the manga, he is definitely uh over the age of 18. So
Yes, uh-huh.
thankfully he grows up and he matures. Cause like I know there could be people because like I feel like other shojo girlies who like grew up watching anime definitely can like relate to it of like being like because like I know if we just went oh yeah I really like Mamadou he's like a husbando and then people will be like but isn't he like 16 I'm like well he first of all he matures second of all um this is somebody we grew up with you're right like, this is someone we liked
Mhm,
since we were children right like literal
mhm.
children not like we were adults, we were children, right? And so our perception of him is going to be and I think it's really interesting because I feel like a lot of people's perception of characters because they're fictional and they're not real And a lot of times they're not really written like children. I'm like, last time I checked, 14-year-olds, 15, 16-year-olds don't go around saving the world. Like they don't take on big bad villains. I just went to an amusement park, and the teenagers working at the amusement park could barely handle someone throwing up on a ride. Like they can't they wouldn't be able to handle saving the world half the time, right?
Yep.
um Literally looked at me and they were like, they didn't know what to do. I could tell they just did not know what to do. Like, but like Mamoru embodies it because it's less about how old the character is, and it's more about like
Mhm.
what he embodies as a
Yes.
character, as his personality and everything. That is why we like him, right? The
Mhm.
sweetness, how sweet he is to Usagi, how like caring and how like of a good partner he is. And like we like those characteristics, not the fact that he's like how old he is. Because again,
Yeah.
in anime and manga, like when you read shojo or even shonen, those characters don't get older with you half the time. Like it's
Yeah.
very rare we see time skips, you know?
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like when you do hear like older creators like us talking about or romanticizing a character that, is stuck being their age,
Yep.
it's not the age, it's just the characteristics, the personalities. I mean, all of Mamoru's traits are things that you should be looking for in a
Mm,
partner.
mhm.
I don't think anyone's like looking for Darien in a partner.
Hey, meatball head.
Hey, meatball head.
Like, my name's Darian. Look
No.
at my cool looking purple pants. Actually, they're kind of funky looking. Yeah, I haven't washed them for a while. They turned purple because of all the mold that's been on there because I don't wash my pants.
The purple and green
Green.
blazer. I mean, it's
Oh,
iconic,
it
but
is iconic. Okay, but turtlenecks, come on. Like, turtlenecks are good though.
yeah, they are.
Take off the turtle. Take off the jacket, right? And he's stylish. He's styling. But yeah. I think we've got all we needed to say. Do you have any last thoughts?
Um, Justice for Tuxedo Mask. He does not
Justice.
deserve any of the slander.
Give me
It's just a
love
lot of
or give me
misinformation.
what?
It's just a lot of misinformation. That's what
Yes.
it is.
I think that's the thing that will always bother me is misinformation. It always does every time because I don't know why anyone doesn't just Google. We always make the joke about like Google is free, but literally Google is
It,
free. Like you can look
yeah,
things up.
yeah, because like the biggest thing is just like, oh, he's a pedo, but like literally, you can go on Google and Google Tuxedo Mask age, and you'll you'll get your answer. He's 16.
He's 16 and you'll see in the manga. Because here's the thing, whether you like Crystal or not, the manga is canon. Like is the true version of Sailor Moon. So
Mm-hmm.
to say things like, especially when things are adapted poorly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Things are adapted poorly because like if it was more one to one, it would be different. But it's not. Sailor Moon was not adapted one to one.
No.
So if you want the true raw canon version of Sailor Moon, read the manga.
Yes.
Read it because that is the true Mamoru, the true Rei, the true story, like how Usagi is, how like the lore of it. I mean, let's not forget like in the fifth arc where the Sailor Starlights literally transform from men to women when they were just women the whole time,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the fact that Mamoru is more than just a guy in a tuxedo, he has actual powers, and that he is essentially he's the equivalent to Sailor Moon. Like, let's
Yeah.
be real, because like the Shiteno are his senshi.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people also forget that is that Mamoru and Usagi are are partners for life, but they're
Mm-hmm.
also they were also equals to each other.
Yes. Yes,
And
absolutely.
yes, the story is about Usagi, and Usagi's usually the one taking forefront, right? Of
But he's
situations.
the he's really like the heart of the series.
Hmm.
Like Sailor Moon is obviously Usagi's story, but there wouldn't be take out Tuxedo Mask and you don't have the series.
You don't have the series, no.
No.
You would have like because you could take out any other character, right? You could have no
Yeah.
Sailor Pluto. You could have like things would be written differently, right? But you could have like all of the Senshi. If they
Hmm.
one of them didn't exist, you, I mean, yeah, you wouldn't. You would just kind of it would just affect maybe that one part of the story, right?
Yes.
But other than that, like for the most part, like without Mamoru, there is no Sailor Moon. The same way as if there's no Sailor Moon, there's no Sailor Moon.
Hmm.
Mamoru is so incredibly important, and I'm really tired of the misinformation about him because like I don't like 90s Mamoru. I don't like him. I like Mamoru from Manga and Crystal. And that's how it should
Hmm.
and that's how he should be. And that's how everyone should view him. Disregard the 90s anime. Just disregard it because that's not the true him.
Nope. I think with that, I think we got everything.
I do too.
I think
Thank
I'm happy.
yeah. Yeah. But thank you everyone for listening to episode 2 of Shojo's Bizarre Adventure. We will have we will be back next week for
Oh,
episode
next
3.
week will
Oh no,
be
just kidding.
we're taking a little break next week
That's right. That's right.
because I'm going to San Diego Comic-Con.
Yes,
So we'll be back
we'll
the
be back
following Sunday.
the following Sunday, which is the let me look the 30th. We'll be back the 30th for episode 3 of Shojo's Bizarre Adventure. So yeah.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Thank you for listening in, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
All right.
Bye.
Looking forward to talking about San Diego Comic-Con. Maybe
Yeah.
next time.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you later.
Bye.